welcome to another edition of the Mariachi Clothing Company's educational videos. On today's video, just like the one for guitarrones, these are not really geared towards mariachi players. These are actually geared for people that are not mariachis, so they can learn about the instruments that we play. Today's video is going to be about the vihuela and help you dissipate some fears about it being a weird instrument or an instrument that you might not be familiar with. It will help you understand it better and to lose the fear about even just trying it at home. So stick around and hope that you like the video. This is a vihuela that has mechanical pegs. You can see it's a 5-string guitar. The first thing that you need to know, there's a vihuela that's from Spain. They are not the same instrument. This instrument was an adaptation of the indigenous people from Mexico. When the Spaniards came, they adopted the guitar. They try to make their own variants on the guitar, and that's where the guitarrón and the vihuela came to be. They probably got the name from the Spanish vihuela. I'm pretty sure that's where it came from. You have the head. In this case, we have a 2x3 setup with pegs. These happen to be mechanical pegs. These are the peg heads, the shaft. You have the hueso, or the nut, the neck of the instrument, the diapason, or fingerboard, just like the guitar. Same thing, you have the trastos, or frets. This is what's called the sope of the instrument, this little. You have the cara of the instrument, you know, the crap, now I totally blanked out on the name of this. These are the aros and the joroba. You have the bridge or the puente. You don't have a hueso, you don't have a bone saddle on it. It's just, you know, the wood bridge. The yarda, which is different pieces of wood cut and pasted together, and they go all around. And here you have the cordon. These are the traditional style cordones, which is black and natural color, and it goes all around right here. There are some instruments that are a little bit more modern. They have that cordon that's just a solid color that makes it look a lot more elegant. As you can see, this is a non-traditional rosette. It's in the shape of a heart, and it also has a lot of inlay. Chord structure wise is the same thing. The tuning of the instrument is A, D, G, B, E. The same as the guitar, except that it's missing the 6th string. The main difference with the vihuela is that the tuning is not chromatic. It does not go from lowest to highest or from highest to lowest pitch. It jumps around very similar to the ukulele. Some people say, oh, it's a Mexican ukulele. Hopefully this is tuned, but you'll hear the A, D, G, B, E. And that was very out of tune, but you get the idea of how it jumps around. If you're going to play a chord, so for example, if I wanted to play a G on the guitar, my middle finger would be playing the 6th string. In this case, we skip that. I would actually play the 5th string, the 1st string, but to make it easier, I now have the thumb that can be used more efficiently to change the chords. One thing that is also different, slightly different with mariachi chords, since we have chord patterns that are very common, like D to D7, we tend to do our Ds and other fingerings with fingers 2, 3, and 4, whereas most chord charts that you find will have you doing them with fingers 1, 2, and 3. Most people will find their D chord like this. In mariachi, we actually do it like this because we tend to go from D to D7 a lot, and you just lift one finger and add the other one. It makes it more efficient. Same thing, G, instead of doing it like this or like a lot of chord charts show you like this, do it with the thumb, pinky, and then G to G7 makes it a lot more efficient. C, same thing as with the guitar. In mariachi, we would do the 6th string. We would play on the 3rd fret, which would turn that E into a G. But here we just do the traditional one. And the C7, instead of adding the pinky, we would go somewhere along here. We would add the thumb to add that B flat, and again, it makes it more efficient. We're always looking for efficiency when it comes to mariachi. So this is a more modern style of vihuela, has mechanical pegs, has a 2 to 3 setup on the headstock. Here we have, again, a more rustic style vihuela. This has wooden pegs with adornos. I personally am not a fan of the wooden pegs. Just like the other one, it has a lot more modern yarda, which instead of it being yarda, it's nothing but mother of pearl, which is handmade. This aro around the rosette, same thing. You can see the detail on I believe this is walnut, the different style of wood, the cordon, just so you get an idea of a different style. This is a more rustic style head. This Vihuela from our friends at Guitarra Sevillano. It's a more traditional looking Vihuela. Es una roseta o una boca de picos, as they call it, or de triángulos. This has a traditional yarda that I was talking about. This is a very elegant design because it's just dark wood and light wood. So it's very, very elegant, whereas most of the other ones, they have adornos that are pink and green and blue and different colors. You have two types of setups for Vihuelas. You will have 3 and 3 in which one machinery doesn't get used. And if one of them breaks, you just swap it to the other one. Or you have the single pieces, which are 3 and 2. Some people use the 3 and 3, but some luthiers actually cut the top maquinaria. They actually saw it off, so you turn it into a 3 and 2, and you have that option. Here we have a Guitarra de Golpe that's unfinished, but just so you get an idea, this is what I was talking about on the yarda. It's very colorful. It has pink, green, black, might have some purples. Then it has another cordon right here. It's just red all around. This is, esta le llaman, I think, the picos, I believe, or the estrella. And this one would have the traditional 3 and 3 with the spare one for you to just swap out if one of the machineries break, then you have the other one that's spare. For Guitarras de Golpe, there are multiple tunings. You can tune it like a Vihuela, and it will sound very similar to a Vihuela. The difference in body will give it a slightly deeper sound. There are about 3 or 4 different tunings that are the most common ones. It will be a sound that's between Vihuela and guitar. So it will be deeper than the Vihuela, but not as deep as the guitar, and it really helps balance out the armonía section in the mariachi. We're not gonna get in depth into the Guitarra de Golpe today, but just wanted to show you what it looks like, and this is what one looks like finished. The difference between a Guitarra de Golpe and the Vihuela is that the Guitarra de Golpe has metal frets. The Vihuela does not and should not have metal frets. The Vihuela has frets made out of nylon. And usually they are made out of fishing wire. There are some Vihuelas out there that come with metal frets. I would not recommend those at all. Most of those are made out of plywood and the quality of the sound is terrible. Also, the metal frets actually does change the sound of the instrument a lot. As your instrument ages, most luthiers make your instrument, it's leveled, your height, it'll be 4 to 7 millimeters depending on what action you like between the string and the body and the cara of the Vihuela, and I still can't remember, for the life of me, can't remember the name of that. So the between the string and the cara, the tapa, that's what it's called, the tapa. And I should have remembered that, the top. Between the string and the top, it should have a certain height. So most luthiers, since they know that with time, your instrument, the tension is going to pull slightly on that neck and it's going to change your action, which is very common in mariachi instruments. You leave the frets to where you can replace them. So after 3, 5, 6, 10 years, your action will change. So you cut them off, have a luthier redo your intonation, your frets, your fretting, so you can have an instrument that is still true to tone. And that does not happen with a Vihuela that has metal frets. Every single one that I've seen that has metal frets is made out of plywood, and the sound is terrible. I just don't recommend them. They might be super inexpensive, but again, not the best. I want to give you guys a demonstration of how to play this instrument. The action on this one is actually going to be a little bit on the low side because as the instrument ages, it's going to go up about 1 millimeter or 2 in height, and it's going to set the action perfectly to where you should be at. And this will be a great instrument for beginners because the action is going to be low and it's not going to hurt you as much as an instrument with a higher action. Stay away from a couple of different things. In order to play the Vihuela, you're going to need a strap. Some people put end buttons here and here, and they do an electric guitar strap, which I personally don't like because when you get one of those, as soon as you grab it, that strap, since it's thick and it's nylon, it'll move the instrument to an incorrect position. So I would steer very clear of that. You would need a classical guitar strap. This is some of the straps that we have in our store. You put it through the sound hole, and there's your instrument. You just adjust it to the height that you need. This is what's called a ring pick, which is normally used for banjo. Banjo players use it like this, and they use it for picking. In mariachi, we actually use it the other way. We use it for strumming. You can play it without that. You will need long nails, but vihuelas, if you don't have nice, thick, strong nails, vihuelas will break your nails and it will be painful. This hand, remember, you should never have any length of nails. As you press down on the fingerboard, if you have any length of nail, it will hit the wood, ruin your fingerboard, and also it won't sound as nice. We are going to play a D the same way that you would play it on a guitar. Guitars usually will play it like this. Non-mariachi guitars, fingering charts will show you like this. Mariachi usually plays it like this because we do patterns from D to D7, which is a lot easier to go just lifting one finger and adding one, then having to move all of your fingers. Same thing for G. Traditionally, you would do the G something like this or like this. This is missing, again, remember the 6th string. We use the thumb, and G to G7 is going to go back and forth, makes it easy to do. So the way that we play the vihuela is what's called golpes, which you literally hit the strings. Your hands, the way that I tell people, is you grab, pretend you're grabbing a very old book from a library like this, or a key for your car, and then let your fingers relax. And then you hit with all your fingers. On the up strum, you actually strum up with your thumbnail. So you do up and down. And now one of the questions is, can I play with a guitar pick? Yes, technically you can. However, it's not recommended. It will change the sound of how you play. It will change the feeling of how you play. And if you're learning vihuela, might as well start learning it properly and traditionally, which is with or without the ring pick. And then for all the strumming patterns, it just takes some time. But that's how the vihuela works. In mariachi, we do strumming, we do sones. Boleros. You know, rancheras, dos cuartos, ranchera, tres cuartos, polkas, we do all the styles, but it's very easy. If you know the guitar, vihuela is super easy to pick up. It's super easy to play, super easy to learn. And if you follow our videos, I would recommend subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can see more videos. We will be adding instructionals on chord progressions, on mariachi theory, also on theory for mariachi players so they can learn traditional skill degrees and can learn traditional music theory. Again, hopefully you guys liked it. Stay safe out there, and we will see you on the next video. We're gonna demonstrate how the vihuela is played. I just got this one and tuned it. I'm going to need to retune. We just changed strings on it, so it might be getting out of tune as I play it. Ooh, and that needs retuning. That sounds terrible. Can you hear that? That B is done. It's dropping pitch. Oh, that sounds crap. We're gonna need another vihuela. All right, so let's do a cut.